You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You feel like heaven to touch. I want to hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you. Venus in Virgo meeting Regulus. Intuitive impressions that we can gain using tarot. So I've got Grimalkin's Cat Tarot here. There is the Rose Oracle as well by Rebecca Campbell. What is a healthy relationship looking like? How should we be supporting each other? Venus is the planet of love. So Venus is in Virgo. So Virgo is quite a feisty little star sign or astrological influence. So Virgos are quite feisty, they're very independent, very neat and tidy and proper, quite calculating at sometimes. Yeah, a bit of a control freak, to be fair. So we have those sort of energies, and that is then being put into like your love lives because it's that energy is matching up with Venus, the planet. Also, bear in mind that we're, we're looking at the connection with Regulus, and Regulus comes from the constellation of Leo. Leo season is coming up, but what makes this connection so important is because Regulus is like one of the most important stars in the Leo system or Leo star system. So Regulus is a star of immense power. It represents leadership, royalty. When Venus touches it, right as she enters Virgo, the cosmos is telling us that true sovereignty in love requires high standards. We are moving away from the loud, superficial honeymoon phase, or as it's sometimes called, the falling in love phase. So we've popped that little ego boundary that we had there, and the honeymoon is over. The romance does not necessarily have to die, but you have to work harder for it. So that it's where the real work begins. So all the superficial stuff has been stripped away, and you then have to move towards a more dignified and mature love, something that you're both collectively building up to together. So the collective call to stop accepting flashy words and start demanding consistency and grounded action. Camera. Before I've pulled any cards, I've not actually pulled any cards as of yet, but I've been getting myself into tuning into the frequencies, the energies, the vibes. I was chilling with my pink Lemurian or scarlet Lemurian quartz a bit earlier on in the day. And what was coming to me, I was picking up on those sort of Virgo energy. And funnily enough, one of the famous Virgos is Beyonce. And a couple of songs that Beyonce has sang have then came through with messages. Songs would be Me, Myself, and I. So me, myself, and I, it's all I got in the end. It's what I found out. Virgo energy, that independence, that self-reliance, and self-love as well. So there's that kind of energy coming in. Song which stood out the most to me, it's not actually a Beyonce song, but it is a song that she has sang. So it was Learn to Be Lonely. Learn to Be Lonely. So I'm going to take a look at the lyrics. I can sing a little bit for you if you like. So, child of the wilderness, born into emptiness, learn to be lonely. Learn to be your one companion. Child of the wilderness, born into emptiness. Learn to be lonely. Learn to find your way in darkness. Who will be there for you? Comfort and care for you. Learn to be lonely. Learn to be your one companion. Never dream out in the world. There are arms to hold you. You've always known your heart was on its own. This song, it came to me, this kind of energy that's around us. Of us have been pouring a lot of energy and time into relationships. We're kind of being asked to embrace that lonely feeling because a lot of us, we try to do everything that we can to avoid it. We try the dating apps, we try socializing, we try it all, but it doesn't always work out for us in the way that we intend it to. The matter of the fact is they come across as kind of needy or anxious because some of us may be coming from that anxious attachment wound. That's the energy that we're putting off. Then the people around us who we're trying to build a connection with, then they're just going to feel that energy and it's going to feel a bit icky to them, and they're just going to kind of keep you at arm's length and not progress with you. So this is why, if you want to build a relationship, if you want to be loved by another, you have to, as corny as it sounds, you have to love yourself and look at building that relationship with yourself, being comfortable in your own skin, being comfortable in your own company. So this is what Virgo, matching up with Regulus, the heart of the lion, this is the message that it brings. So it wants us to be more self-sufficient, more self-loving, self, sovereign, joyous, inspired. So all of these are leonine qualities, and this is what we need to embody if we want to push forward and if we want to attract someone else to share our lives with. Because that songs came through to me from spirit, it's not to be taken literally. It doesn't mean that you're going to be alone and you have to stay on your own forever. It just means take a bit more pride in yourself, try to do more of the stuff that you enjoy. A happy and joyous person who's in love with themselves going to be very charismatic, and it's going to attract other people towards you. So it's like the law of attraction. Whatever energy you're putting out is the energy that's going to be matched. A lot of us, I'm guilty of this myself, we put ourselves out there, we bend over backwards, we people please, we're kind, considerate, caring to a fault, and sometimes I'm being reminded of it. Like I feel like the energy which is coming through, it's reminding us that we need to be more mindful of the love and affection and attention that we give to others, because yeah, it's good to be that kind of person where you're giving that love, that attention, that kindness, generosity, all of those things to the people that you care about. But we need to be careful that is it being repaid back? So is the energy that you're giving out, is it mutual? Is it a mutual connection? Or is it just something that's not an equal partnership? So that's just one of the questions really, but that was value yourself highly and so will others, was a strong message which came through. So yeah, do bear that in mind. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to pull one of the Grimalkin's Cat Tarot cards. Let's see what the first card has to say about all of this. So what kind of energy is around all of this? So this first card is going to be the current situation for us. So this is a reading. Okay. 10 of Wands. Okay. So 10 of Wands. So we have this kind of energy. So it's interesting. So I like the imagery of this one. You see like a glowing bird, and that imagery, it's reminding me. To me, that is representing Regulus, because Regulus, I believe, that is one of the brightest stars within the Leo constellation. So right away, I feel like that connection is being reminded and highlighted. So 10 of Wands. I believe when a reading has a lot of wands in it, it may represent some form of conflict or battle of wills. So it's showing to me that some of the relationships that we're investing in, some of them are being quite difficult, to be fair, and there is some conflicts within them, and there is work to be done. But that being said, you do have the golden bird in there, and the golden bird does show that all is not lost, hope is not gone. There is a possibility of light and of hope. So let me just have a quick look in the tarot book and see if I can elaborate on that one. 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands. Okay, interesting. All right, so this is the card. So it's the key word here is burden. So yeah. It says there is a focus on success, but success that has little reward. The presence of this card indicates that you are not at peace with yourself. You may well receive material rewards at this time, but spiritually, this is a poor time. The 10 of Wands represents material gain, oppression, disguise, selfishness, and excessive demands. If you are involved in a lawsuit, he or she will certainly face defeat, is saying, but that is not really relevant to this relationship reading. So, however, oppression, so oppressiveness, selfishness, excessive demands, material, so being super materialistic, that's the word. Sorry, it took me a while to come with that. So these are qualities within a person which may make us think twice about that person. So if someone is being selfish, that's a no-brainer, really. If someone's putting excessive demands on the relationship, on your time, on your energy, so you're then gonna have to weigh up the pros and cons, like how much value are you gaining from the relationship? So what have they done for you lately? That the Janet Jackson song comes to mind. So it's just weighing up the good and the bad which has came from this connection that you have with this person. Okay, so that was the first card. Okay, So before I read any more cards, I'm going to read you a little bit from the Prophet Kahil Gibran. Sorry, the book is called The Prophet. The author is Kahil Gibran. So it's a very cool book. So it's based on philosophy, mystical. So it says, the Prophet is the most mystical and powerful work. Okay. So this is what Kahil Gibran has to say about love. And he raised his head and looked upon the people, and there fell a stillness upon them. And with a great voice he said, when lover beckons to you, follow him. Though his ways are hard and steep, when his wings enfold you, yield to him. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you, and when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams, as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is your growth, so is he your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. So it's very poetic. So I just wanted to read some of that because it's just such a beautiful message. So our roots clinging to the earth. It's interesting that he mentions about our roots clinging to the earth, because if you think of like Virgo is one of the earth signs, and they are very rooted in the earth, very immovable, like a tree, to be fair. Okay, so let's have one of. So the current situation that we had. So the current situation was the Ten of Wands. So it's a feeling of a burden, So that is. So it's not good, really, if that is the current energy that's around the situation. So the current situation is there's quite a burden aspect, or even codependency. Right, let's have a look. So the next card will represent a possible obstacle between your love life and you. Returning to each other, compassion and humanity. So compassion and humanity, so that is, oh, I'm showing the laptop like the laptop has the camera, my bad. Okay, so one of the obstacles is compassion and humanity. So just try to remember that I know that we live in this culture where when we do dating, for instance, every dating kind of gets us like swiping on the apps. We're swiping left or right, yada yada yada. But these apps and this culture and society that we're in these days, it gets us into kind of objectifying people. But Spirit is kind of reminding us that we need to come back to our humanity and come back to the empathy and start seeing people as people and not just an object. Okay. So we need to have more compassion for each other, compassion for ourselves as well. And just embrace your humanity. Don't lose the humanity that you have within you. Okay, so that is the obstacle between you and your love life. So if you find a way to be more compassionate, if you find a way to be more human and empathetic and loving, obviously. So if you kind of go with that energy, so, because that is the current obstacle. So past influences. So let's see what influences have been in the past. Past influences. Okay. The High Priestess. Wow. Okay. That's very interesting. So past influences. So what this card is telling me is that either you yourself are a very intuitive person, but you dismiss your intuition. You dismiss your intuition, especially when it comes to relationships. So when you get those gut instincts, those feelings, you kind of just dismiss it and don't accept it for what it is, and that's insights which come from a higher power. So either you're the person who's very intuitive, or it's possible that there may be another person who's around you who's been giving you their advice, telling you about their impressions and what their intuition's telling them, and you've kind of just brushed that person off and not accepted it. Kind of just thought they was being a little too nosy or a little too in your business, and you just like just did not want to accept what they was telling you. So what this card is suggesting, that wherever this intuition, wherever these impressions, these gut instincts are coming from, stop shrugging them off, stop dismissing them, because they can help you. Okay. So lean into your intuition, or lean into the intuition of somebody who's close to you. Okay. And that is what that High Priestess card is telling us. And that's a past influence. So that has been, so yeah, like I was saying, so either you have dismissed this advice from someone in the past, or you dismiss your own intuition time and time and time again. So let's not do that. All right, let's go. So in the near future, so let's go back with another tarot card for this one. So the next card is representing the near future. So this is in the near future. So yeah, this is a tarot reading. So if you don't want this information, then don't watch. Okay. So we have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands. Look at that kitty right there. The Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands represents a young person who's in your life. So it can often represent a young man or a child, someone from one of the fire signs, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I always forget about Sagittarius. Sorry, Sagittarius. So Page of Wands. So that is the card. So there's an emphasis of, it's kind of an emphasis on like the chase here. So in the image, you can see a cat and he's looking up at a bird, which is just some way away from him. And the cat is kind of looking ready to pounce. So it's that kind of energy of like seeing something that seeing a challenge. So I feel like, yeah, especially with this Leo energy, with the Regulus energy that's coming through Virgo, I feel like some of us may be a bit more, what would you, daring, daring. And we're going to want to catch that bird. So whether that bird is a new connection or a current connection or a past connection, whatever it is, we have that frame of mind where we're going into that chase, and it's kind of like a challenge. You see it like a challenge, but it's also giving you that dopamine rush, that thrill. Interesting. So let's have a quick look at the Page of Wands. This card is saying that you should expect to receive some good news that will cheer you up. It could indicate that a young man will be faithful, a faithful friend during a difficult time. So that is interesting. So again, going back to the guidance and leaning on other people rather than just being your Virgo, that rather than just embodying that Virgo energy of just being the sort of like that robot who's just like trailblazing forward and self-reliant and not accepting help from others and just being kind of too, I can't find the right word, too, maybe self-reliant would be a good word, so we'll just use that word. So, too self-reliant. So it says the Page of Wands. So this young person, they may have, so just because they're young doesn't mean that they don't have something to offer when it comes to maybe just whether it's just a gentle ear so you can vent to them, or whether they're able to say something which will give you that aha moment and you suddenly the pieces fit together in whatever predicament that you've been in. So this card can also indicate that family problems will come to an end. So special consideration is a close friend could help to enlighten you and could see things from a different perspective. So yeah, it's always good to run stuff by run stuff by friends and family, because they will look at the situation and they can see ways to resolve our issues that we've overlooked. So that is where this card is coming from. Okay. Near future. Further future. All right, so again, we're delving into the future a bit further. So we're going a bit further into the future. I'm going to pull another tarot card. Two of Swords. Interesting. Okay. Two of Swords. So Two of Swords. So Two of Swords is representative of two opposing forces. So to me, this kind of could represent a couple who are kind of like chalk and cheese, light and dark, or rough and ready, or yin and yang. But if you look at the cat is balancing upon both of those swords. So it's about finding that middle ground. It's about finding the harmony. What is the common ground that you have between each other? That is what's going to be important here. That is what's going to help you find resolutions. Okay. And so that is farther in the future. So let me read what it's saying about the Two of Wands. So that was quite good. So I opened the book onto Ace of Swords, sorry. So the key word with that card was balance. So it says there's a focus on negotiations. If you have been involved with a dispute with a friend or an acquaintance, the presence of this card indicates that an amicable solution will be reached, with both parties feeling positive and glad that the dispute is over. So yeah, that's a very positive card. So whoever needed to hear that, I'm sure you'll be breathing a sigh of relief. So the Two of Swords in a reading represents courage, friendship, concord, affection, communication, compromise, and harmony. So such brilliant ways of saving a relationship. Communication, literally, that communication is key in any form of relationship. Compromise. So sometimes you do have to compromise, but it's about knowing each other's boundaries and knowing what to expect from the other person as well. Because sometimes, like when you get in a relationship with people, they may expect too much, but if you've not set that boundary with them, then they may be counting on you to provide something within the relationship, but because you've not stated that you wouldn't be able to offer that, that's not on the table, so that they would have to then look to obtain that in a different way, whether that's through a friendship or whether that's through their own independence. But it's just about having that clear boundary. So special consideration. The key to achieving a satisfactory compromise is open and honest communication. You should not let a previous bitterness influence the communication. Once a compromise has been reached, the querent yourself, you should feel a sense of achievement and having an open-minded and having been open-minded and considerate of others. So that is the Venus energy. So the Venus energy does make you more empathetic and more open. Right, let's have another card. So outside influences. Let's see what outside influences around this situation. Outside influences. The second bloom. Second bloom. So a second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. So that's interesting. So the outside influences and bringing new possibilities. That is interesting. Okay. So it may be like the Page of Wands card a bit earlier on. It was talking about some good advice or some form of good energy which was coming from outside the relationship. But again, there's some form of new energy, new possibility, which is blooming. And the key word here is second chance. So second chances. So when it comes to second chances, always make sure that you do weigh up the pros and cons of the situation of relationship, that you're really measuring it properly. So Venus is in her fall in Virgo, meaning the planet of love struggles here, because Virgo focuses on flaws, details, and perfection, much like Beyonce. So people treat Venus in Virgo like a buzzkill because she spots the flaws, but catching the flaws is how you fix the foundation before the house falls down. This transit isn't about being hypercritical of your partner, it's about discernment. It's about realizing that love is a daily practice, an act of service, and a choice. It asks us, are you overfunctioning to earn someone's love, or are they meeting you halfway? Okay, that is important. That comes from just looking at the astrological influences. So let's pull another card. So, Spirit's guidance. What you should do now. The wild roads. The roads? Okay, so that's not what the card is. The wild rose, rather. I feel like there may be a hidden message in there. It's interesting when if you look at which cards are they again? Lenormand, Lenormand cards, they have one card which is where the roads, an important message with that one is building roads towards each other. So it's accepting that you may be in two different places, but what a relationship is, it's about building that path towards each other. So the wild rose. So this card, it says, do it your way, embrace your uniqueness, be untamed. Powerful message there. Let me read some more of what I wrote down earlier. So yeah, just as a reminder, have a look at who is bringing the most value to the relationship. So when you're in a relationship, sometimes the other person may believe that they may believe, or they may have said to you that you need me, or you can't live without me. So that would be a red flag, obviously. So that would be a toxic relationship. But it may be that the truth is actually the reverse. It's the other person who recognizes what you bring to the table, recognizes what value you have, what a valuable person you are, and they don't want to lose that. So what does value in a relationship look like? Let's have a look. So value isn't someone buying you flowers after a huge fight. It isn't someone noticing your shoulders a tense after a hard day. Oh, sorry, it is someone noticing your shoulders are tense after a hard day, and someone buying you flowers. Sorry, I said it the wrong way around. Lowering the lights, making sure you have space to decompress without demanding emotional performance from you. It's the value of predictability, knowing exactly how they will react when things get stressful. Emotional predictability. Predictability, yeah, that's definitely a win-win for me. Predictability. Another thing is operational value, so the co-captain. So it's just remembering that if you look at the illustration, so that is from one of the Grimalkin Cat tarots. But if you look at that imagery, it's showing about, it's again going back to the Two of Swords. So you have the Two of Swords in here, and the Two of Swords, sorry, represents balance and opposing forces, but also equal forces. So that is the important thing to remember, that if you're going to be in a relationship, have a look at what the dynamic is. Are you equals in this relationship? Are you both putting in the same amount of energy, putting in the same love, etc.? So that is important. So the real value is operational equality. It means not having to ask your partner to step up because they already see what needs to be done. It's a partner who manages their own schedule, shares the mental load of life's chores, and acts as a true co-captain, so you aren't forced to play the role of their manager. So you get in a relationship, you don't want to be the other person's parent, do you? Hell no. So that is more or less what it's saying. But at the same time, you don't. I know some people might want the other person to be their parent. I'm not gonna lie, I have been in that dynamic before where the other person is kind of being overly protective and parent-like. I guess some people do like that dynamic, but it's about finding that balance. That is the important thing. Finding balance. Let's have another card. Another card for guidance. So before I pull the other card, let me read a little bit more of my notes from earlier. So the relational value. So repair over perfection. So again, this is looking at Virgo. So Virgos, they do obsess over things being perfect. So a common Venus in Virgo trap is waiting for a relationship to be perfect. So real value lies in how a couple handles the imperfection. So that is a very important point. So no relationship is finished, no relationship is perfect. Like the relationships that work, like that wheel, that drive to keep the relationship going, it's all about that energy, that driving force. So what energy is going into the relationship is, so if you look at the input into the relationship, that is going to determine what the output of the relationship is. So if there's minimal effort going into a relationship, then you can expect minimal results. So it's just like one of the laws of the universe. What goes in must come out, more or less. So value is a partner who possesses a functional repair mechanism. When a misunderstanding or a disagreement happens, they don't stonewall you, they or get defensive or sweep it under the rug. Instead, they bring the maturity to say, hey, that didn't go well. How do we fix this together so it doesn't happen again? That willingness to refine the relationship is pure Venus in Virgo gold. So it's that kind of energy to realize when something's not right, and to have that emotional maturity to then look at, to bring it up and to look at resolving it. So this is how relationships work, healthy relationships anyhow. Okay, so let's have another of the tarot cards. Okay, Duxie says, hello, what's happening? So this is a reading. So this is a reading, so it's to do with like the astrological influences. So we have the planet Venus, which is making an alignment with a star constellation, with the Leo star constellation, or more accurately, with the star Regulus, which comes from the Leo constellation. So Venus is dancing with Regulus. And the cards which I'm pulling are guidance for us around relationships and this energy. So Seven of Cups. Ooh, interesting. So I'll show you the card. Seven of Cups. So Seven of Cups. Let me... Where did I just put the book? Let's have a quick look in the book around this card. Seven of Cups. So for me, it's kind of showing... Oh, wait a minute. Is it the all that glitters is not gold? Let's double check. Yeah, all that glitters is not gold. So it's to do with all of the choices. So if you look at all of the different cups, there's different things coming out of the cups. But the message from Spirit is, the guidance is, so don't take everything for face value. And that is important. That is very important, especially if you're dating someone new. Like it will take you a while to actually unravel and to get to know that person. So don't just take that person at face value, because everyone does put on some kind of a mask to conceal their true self, especially some of the annoying parts of the self, or some of the bad parts of the self, because who's gonna just show that off right away? You'd be stupid to do that, wouldn't you? So this is why we have all that glitters is not gold cards. So this is a message to be aware of. So when people are coming at you, just be mindful, tap into the intuition, and just be aware. So someone may look shiny, someone may look perfect. There's that word again, perfect. Someone may look perfect, but once you unravel them, once you actually get to know them, they may not be as perfect as they seem. But I guess it's only natural though, because everyone is human, so nobody is perfect. So that is the important thing. So you just need to measure and use your discernment. Is the imperfection in the other person something that you could live with? So, or are they? Is it just something little, or are they a complete monster? So just look at it subjectively, and yeah, use your discernment. So Seven of Cups. Let's read about this one, because I think this is a very powerful message, to be fair. So it says, there is a focus on deception. You will be faced with an offer that may seem too good to be true. It would be prudent, so it'd be a good idea to delay making any firm decisions until it is easier to see the truth. So yeah, definitely a good idea, especially right now, because right now we're in Mercury in retrograde. So don't make any big or important decisions. So at this time, you will find the truth hard to find. The Seven of Cups represents fairy favours, images of reflection, sentiment, imagination, and little achievement. You may find your senses clouded by emotional ties and sentimental feelings. So the special consideration of that card, the special consideration is you should not be disheartened by the delay in activities. It would be wise to use the time to reflect on the positive aspects that already exist in your life. Again, it's to do with the law of attraction. If you're focusing on what you don't have, if you're just wallowing in self-pity, then that's just going to attract more of the same. If you're showing gratitude and focusing on what you do have, if you're living from a joyous place, if you're really, really going for those highs, really living life to the fullest, then you're going to attract more of those good things to yourself. It's just one of the natural laws of the universe. It just works that way. Okay. All right, to end the reading, I'm going to pull one more of the Rose Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell. So let's see what other cards we have here. Morning Dew, Clarity. So yeah, we're getting, this seems to be quite a theme that we're coming across. So we had a message about discernment, and now it's kind of carrying that same message. So there's the morning dew. So the morning dew is like making sort of like a ritual. So thinking about first thing in the morning when you get up, you go outside, you like collect. You could brush your hands on any green leafy plants outside and just collect some of the dewdrops, and they would carry like a residue of magic and good energy, basically good vibes. But on top of that, the message of the card is find clarity, look for a fresh start, have a positive outlook in life. So that is the message there. So let me read a bit more about that, because it does seem like an important message. Morning dew. So, especially because we're ending on this one. Morning dew. So it says there's a special moment when the day is new and the sun is still young, when we too are given the opportunity to begin again. The presence of the morning dew welcomes us with the grace of a fresh start. And as the moisture gathers on the rose, it invites us to see things clearly, sometimes in a whole new way than we did the previous day. A new perspective is suddenly here. So healers from all corners of the earth believe in the incredible healing quality of the morning dew. They believe that it possesses the same healing properties as the plants themselves, with the dew capturing their essence in clear potency. Practices such as walking barefoot on morning dew, drinking from petals of flowers, and placing dew on the body are thought to bring about powerful shifts of healing. So if we're lucky enough to meet the morning in this way, we too may be blessed by the special healing liquid that carries secret essence of both the earth and the entire universe within it, the morning dew. As it says, this card brings the message that clarity is on its way. A new start and a change of perspective are possible. Shifts are coming. Future is looking renewed, hopeful, positive, and bright. Keep focusing on your ideal outcome and trust in the presence of the potent morning dew. Okay, so that's a very positive message there. Morning dew. Let me double check. The Heart of the Lion. So let's take a look at what is value within a relationship. So value is a partner who possesses a functional repair mechanism. When a misunderstanding or a disagreement happens, they don't stonewall. So yeah, we went over that. So they don't stonewall or sweep it under the rug. So I need everyone to think about, what does value in a relationship look like to you? What are the things that you need from a partner? Like, what things can you not live without? Like, what is a I've forgotten the proper word for it. So what is something like that you need? So like, think about what your values are together. And remember that if somebody's not messaging you back or making time for you, they're probably not into you, and they're probably not meant to be in your life. So just remember that before you chase after somebody who's not meant for you, who's not right for you. Also, have a think about, when you're assessing a potential partner or a lover, think like after you've been dating them for a while, ask yourself, do they bring out the best in you? Do they treat you as an equal? Have they shown that they are truthful? And also just going back to the equality message, don't give away your power. So don't give away your power to someone else. And it is sometimes hard to do depending on the dynamic within your relationship. So a healthy relationship should look like where you are serving each other, where there's give, there's take, where there is compromise and harmony. So this is what we're aiming for. Okay, so that is the beautiful energy which comes from Regulus and Virgo. Virgo and Venus, or sorry, Venus in Virgo meet in Regulus. So the Rose Oracle. So just a recap. So if you're looking back at that card, the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups, it's a reminder. It's a reminder to not be tricked by fool's gold. So it's a reminder to open your eyes and to really look at things in a deeper way, and not to just give something the once over. You need to really examine things when it comes to like relationships and building, especially if you're investing time into someone and you're envisioning a life together. So yeah, there needs to be a lot of examining and thinking about, and the very important thing to think about is along the road, if you do eventually say those magical words that I love you. So if you do love each other, that isn't always the be all and end all within a relationship. So just because you love each other does not necessarily mean that the relationship will last or work. So there needs to be compatibility between you. So you need to have some things in common. You need to be able to support each other, vibe with each other, enjoy each other's company. So there's that compatibility. Okay. So yeah, just bear all of that in mind. Okay. And just remember, all that glitters is not gold. Okay. So please do check out some of the other videos, and I will see you all again soon. Brightest blessings and namaste.